So maybe I will ask Madis first. You have been listening all the presentation from the start. What opinion do you have? What is the main message or takeaway you are bringing home from today's forum? Can you conclude it somehow?
In Estonian or English?
I think maybe if the other are English, maybe we do it in English.
All right. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers. I think it's been a really fantastic day. First of all, the speakers and the presentations, but also, you know, this has value also in the corridors. So you have the discussions with the stakeholders, with the sector, with the speakers. So it's really been valuable. But I think the main ideas have really been, you know, very well brought out. The efficiency of the fleet is one thing. Then I would also say how to promote your products. So be it through certifications or be it through different, let's say, aquaculture developments. I think all of these things, they're really something that our sector, you know, is looking into. So just as a general overview, I think the topics have been really good. But I guess the fleet capacity, the fleet efficiency issues is one thing that is really crucial to our sector. And I'm glad that this topic has really been in the presentations also.
Maybe from others as well, and from other presentations, not your own, what have you maybe point out from other presentations, some interesting topic that you bring home? Niels, for example.
Is it working?
Yes,
it is. I think it is always very interesting to see and to learn about fishing and fish farming with other perspective and other nations. So for me, it has been very interesting to learn, for example, about the work being done with the fleet, how to change the power for the engines. It's also very interesting to learn about packaging. It's very much important for us to bring our product to the consumer. And of course, today also for me was a very big underlining of the very strong relation, cooperation, and dependence there is between the international aquaculture industry and the fishing industry. We are doing business together, and we depend on a responsible way of monitoring the stocks, and that the fishing can be developed in a profitable way, also in a sustainable way. So this is what I take with me from here, and I think that today is a very good example of cooperation, dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Gonzalo. And now try.
Hello. For me to be...
let me see. A little bit technical. Working.
For sure, thank you. For me, it's amazing to see how the industry is working towards more sustainability, more resource efficiency. All of these, if I connect to what I do in the packaging and commercialization of fish, is extremely important to communicate, because supply chains are looking for these optimized supply chains. You know, like retail or food service, they are looking for all these key messages, you know, and especially if you are manufacturers or you are aquaculture or wild fisheries, the more that you communicate these efforts in order to optimize the throughput, optimize the sustainability of your fleet or of your whole operation, the best partners that you will be for major retail chains, because you are addressing cost, you are addressing the value of the message to the consumer. So I'm very fascinated to see all these efforts, all these certifications. You talk a lot about optimizing the fuel. in the fleet. And that's amazing. You talk about fantastic things about how to create your own scheme, about certified your supply chain. That's unique. And as I mentioned in my presentation, MSC, ASC is an enabler to sell your products. It gives you viability, survival. So if you have something new to communicate, of course, you need to monetize that, right? But then you'll monetize by creating good concepts, and you need packaging for that as well. Thank you.
And Johannes, tell something good about Gonzalo as well.
Yeah. I think it's a really interesting, and you know, the conference. It's a really a broad spectrum you have had today, and the focus on the fisheries really strong and interesting, and this is also what's hype now. Also looking into the carbon footprint discussions. And that goes for the packaging materials, like you are talking about, and then the reusability and the renewability, and then also for the developing the vessels. The technology is there. You know, there is a lot going to happen. Now there is a lot of focus on war in our region, and there is a lot of equipment. There are drones. There is a lot of things coming into the industry for sure. I'm pretty sure next time you will talk about drones in the fisheries. As a part of it, you know, yeah, I fully agree. It's a really interesting, like Gonzalo was explaining with this recyclable package materials, because we have a lot of things there which is not really good today, and I think it will be going fast to develop new solutions. So yeah, in the value chain discussion, and for the farming, it's for us, a fish meal producer, it's important, the customers. And like we have seen, what was not really mentioned a little bit by Nils, is that, you know, the use of the marine ingredients is essential for the health of the fish in the farming. And there are certain levels, because the scientists now in Norway, they've done a lot of studies, and it's interesting to follow now that the consumer also is asking more about the information. What is the level of omega-3 fatty acid in the salmon? And one day it will have to be marked on the packaging material. So what is the level of omega-3 in what you're consuming? So it's a lot of development ongoing and interesting.
So if we talk about changes and keeping up with the changes, Madis, does the current policy and regulatory frameworks support or hinder innovation in the fisheries sector?
I've heard this question before. First of all, if we look at the fisheries sector in Estonia, so I'm also dealing with other foodstuffs in agriculture and food industry in my everyday work. So fisheries, definitely, I think they are very good. We're not doing bad, as we say in Estonian, and those who are not familiar with Estonian culture, this means that we're doing pretty good. I think we're catching 4 or 5 times more than we consume. So there's a lot of room for exports. There's a good structure. There's a good sign of cooperative actions in the sector. So there's actually a high added value in the sector. I think there are good things that are happening. Obviously, we have obstacles, challenges, I would say. One of them being highlighted in the last presentation, that the fluctuations of quotas, we can't change really that, only slightly. As last week we managed to upgrade a bit our quotas. We have challenges with the fish stock, with coastal fisheries. There is issues with predators. I wasn't allowed to talk about whales, but
now you are allowed.
seals and cormorants we talk about almost every day. So there are challenges to face. And you asked if regulatory frameworks are kind of promoting, changes or hindering. I would say, it's not a black and white solution there or answer. Definitely, there are places we have to improve. I think the main issue is the fleet capacity issue that we have, especially in Estonia with individual transferable quotas. The regulatory framework on EU level is, I would say, hindering our positions there. So definitely we have work to do. But as I mentioned, we have good success also under this legislation. So I'm not all criticizing, because, for example, us being part of EU in the last 20 years, I believe the steps we've taken in fisheries is also thanks to the EU system of regulatory framework and of supports that we have there.
Other opinions about that? policy or regulatory framework, obstacle or support? Yeah.
Maybe one comment is that I think often regulators, they are focusing too much on these romantic solutions and not on the most efficient solutions. Actually, I think the most efficient, what we have been doing is to establish ITQs, because then that you allow, the development. The fishing vessels will develop, and people like to get work in an environment where they have a good life. And now there is all about life-work balance or work-life balance. I'm not sure what comes first. But the development of the equipment we are using in the fish farms, in the fisheries, that is the most important, and that we continue to use technology and not stop and say, no, you have to go on a rowboat again and then go fishing. That's not going to happen. So the regulator seems often to have some hurdles. And regarding the whales, that has also, we have to start to discuss the EU legislation about utilizing, of course, under a controlled regulation, utilizing these marine mammals. We are shooting some seals now, but we have to throw them in the garbage bin because the EU legislation says you cannot eat it, you cannot utilize it. So we have to look into that as well.
There is a workshop as well going, and there is a question for Niels. So keep the questions going. Niels, now that you have started researching the impact of fish farming in collaboration with the SBTN, how many surprising aspects have emerged for you? Or is the collaboration with the SBTN more focused on validating known results?
The cooperation with SBTN is the impact on nature. That's important to say. SBTN is also having a certain certification in relation to climate. So what we are especially looking at is the impact on the nature. And first of all, you have to assess the impact on nature, and nature in a broad sense. Flora and fauna, you can say. Mm-hmm. And when you have assessed that, then what you have to do first is where can you reduce your impact, and what impact is the most sensitive one. That depends on where you are. If you are farming in an area where there is a rare bird, or you're farming in an area where there's mammal, you cannot say in a general way at this time. And we are, as I say, we are building up the assessment system. It's a little bit the same as Johannes explained about the new certification. We are helping, taking part in together with the SBTN, developing an assessment system for the nature impact. Mm-hmm. So it's too early for me to say. Is it a bird? Is it a habitat area? It's a nature area. And also in SBTN, it will be so that we should all realize, everybody fishing or farming, we have an impact on nature. We cannot say there's no impact. That would be nonsense. But then we have to measure the impact, and then we have to maybe say, okay, here is an impact, but over there, the nature, the biodiversity is not good enough. What can we do? So we say we accept there's an impact here. It should be controlled, measured. How can we add something to the biodiversity over there? So in that sense, it's a more dynamic or more holistic view of looking at the for example, in this case, the nature. So we are not saying that if it was CO2, the CO2 impact will be zero. There will be an impact, but it should be controlled. And how can the industry, if it's a healthy industry, how can the industry contribute to help solving some of the other issues, some other biodiversity issues, example. So the focus is on nature.
Okay. Let's talk about renewable energy and the fleet decarbonization. We saw some technologies there, some examples, some researches. Which technologies seem the most viable for reducing the carbon footprint and most realistic to in the future, Madis?
Well, I'm definitely not the smartest person to answer this question. I don't know if anybody in the panels can help with the technology. I can only say that the direction is right, but and the ships obviously they had, they were nice, but I'm not able to say which technology they use. I'm sorry.
And there is a problem also that is it the same thing after this new technology? Are the drivers there? They can. Is it the new way of thinking this new technology, even on the sea? What do you think?
Well, it's interesting discussions, and because I'm a mechanical engineer, so I love this discussion, but I'm not an expert. But the thing is that I think it's the development will be related to the alternatives. Of course, it seems to be that the machinery itself can operate on different types of fuel. So the engine will be there, I guess. You're not going to be electrical driven vessels, but that will be also some batteries for sure. But the thing is that for me, it's also the question about the cost. What is the cost of ammonia? What is the cost of hydrogen? What is the cost of diesel? There will be, in my mind, this cost balance as well, really important, because in our case, as a fish meal factory, we are the biggest user of gas in northern Jutland in Denmark. We use 15 million cubic meters of gas a year. It's a black gas, so it's a CO2 emissions, 32,000 tons of CO2. But we can go to zero. We can install electrical, the boilers, and then we are zero. But when the electricity is 4 times more expensive than the gas, it's not going to happen. Plus, there is no cable to Skagen to deliver the energy in a way. So there is this balance, and will be going forward. Of course, we will use the technology as it develops.
Other opinions?
Kick in. I'm completely challenging the status quo.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm not an expert at all in what you're talking about, but I did hear all the efforts to retrofit, and all of this costs a lot of money, and you have to validate it. Coming from packaging, industrialization, I'm familiar with retrofitting and this and that, and it's not easy to retrofit a system that was designed for a purpose. So have we exhausted all options before we even go there? And I had a good conversation with you, Nadi, and now that you mentioned as well, maybe we're used to do it in a certain way, and I know now that they are marine drones.
Yeah, of course.
Optimizing fisheries. I did briefly mention that. So, before we even go to the ocean, could we already validate that the money is there?
Yes.
And I'm working on projects like that already with marine drones. So I think that we have to explore with an unfamiliar angle, because probably there is something there to dig. Just my 5 cents.
Definitely.
Yes. When will you have some renewable energy vessels, and what exactly?
I think we should also maybe, when we talk about renewable energy, we should maybe think it's not that one size fits all. I think it would be very different source of power for an ocean-going fishing vessel being gone into Atlantic Sea for 30 days, and a fish farm boat which will go 5 sea miles out and come back within 8-10 hours. Not necessarily the same source of energy. So it's not that one size fits all. And of course it will be. I think same as I don't see a battery-driven vessel, but there's different kinds of fuels and different kinds of engine, and I'm not a mechanical engineer, but for sure it will be. And as I said, and I tried to show, there's much bigger players in our industry, and we also following that and learning from that. So that is one thing. And then again, I have to also think about cost, because your EU is a free market, it's an open market, and it's not it's also not protected. So if you go to a local supermarket, if I go to Rimi here in Tallinn, I will see fish products not only from EU. So, and there's basically no tax. So we have, all the time, we have to think about keeping our business sustainable, also from the cost point of view. So that we have, we accept, and we want to go in front, but we should not go so much in front that we lose the business, and then all the fish for Estonian market is coming from China. I don't think that is a point. So this is where also we need to have a dialogue with the policymakers, the industry among ourselves, and also scientists, how we can go forward, but not go so much forward that we lose the business. So that is, but one size doesn't fit all in fishing.
Gonzalo, Niels mentioned Tallinn supermarket Rimi, and how could the Baltic region add more value to its seafood? Is it with innovative packaging, product development? What are the secrets there?
Thank you, great question. So we were used to eat, I love herring, I love mackerel, I love pelagics. I really love that fish. But we are used to produce our heritage, right? The products that we grew up with. We have to realize these have fantastic protein, and also they are full of fat. You know, it's great things that consumers are looking for. However, they might not be looking for in the formats available right here. Even though it's full of protein, full of great fat, omega-3, you know, all the beauty. However, keep in mind that these products, maybe they will need to be transformed into concepts, not just fish per se. You know, a concept means, for example, the minute that you pack something, you are not longer a herring. You are competing with eggs, with yogurt. You're competing with other sources of protein. You're following me?
Yes.
So we need to be smarter. Yes, we have a fantastic raw material. We have a great storytelling. We're doing everything to bring you the best quality. However, we're failing in communication. We're failing in listening and fitting what the consumer wants. And who's that consumer? We are producing probably for us, our age. We need to be producing for the new consumer, for the generation Z, right? And that's a challenge. But it requires collaboration with all the industry. You know, the salmon industry did it. However, if you really look into the statistics of smoked salmon, it's not growing anymore.
There is even Generation Alpha growing up. Niels wanted to add something.
Yeah, I wanted to add, because I actually go to Rimi. There's a Rimi just next door. And I saw, in fact, I saw, it's always interesting for me if I visit another country to go to the supermarket and learn. Of course, I'm looking at the trout and salmon products, but I also look at the other fish products and also look at the selling price.
You notice the whole fish?
I noticed there's a whole fish also, and that is also, actually, I would say, this is also very important, because this is the most, I want to say, honest product, because it's not processed. There's another thing about processed fish and the real meat. But I saw both. So when I visit different supermarkets, also in Estonia, also other parts in Europe, I'm learning always how the fishing industry, which we have not been presented here, but we are totally depending on the fish processing industry transforming our raw material to the consumer. So I saw that. So I saw also actually new packings, new items, and I was standing and I bought some of it and eat it in my room. I'm standing there with a lady, I guess she was 80 years old, and I was standing there at the same time with a couple of about 20. And then I'm also in the, I don't know what you call it, definitely not sea, but a long gone sea. So we were all there, but we were interested in the same products.
Very good. Madis wanted to ask.
Yeah, I think it's a really good question, and there's no clear answer to, every sector has its own specific needs. For example, if you take Estonian fisheries, then coastal sector definitely how to add more value to the products they catch, and also to market this. I mean, this is definitely the lower hanging fruit in that sector. The trawling sector is very well vertically integrated, so the added value comes in other things. For example, in the thing that our last presenter told, certificates in the export market. So that's another layer. And I'm very glad that you were here, because we are really developing in the marine aquaculture sector. I know there's producers here who are increasing their production 3 times this year. So there's every sector has its own needs and its own possibilities to add value, but I think the goal is the same, to find more expensive products or to make more expensive products.
Mm-hmm. Next subject about automation and digitalization. How might these things transform the daily practices in fisheries? What is the future like with the digitalization? Everything is digitalized. Is it helping this industry?
Yeah, I can take it first. I really think so. The last thing I saw presented in an conference this year is that there is a company, actually Icelandic guys, they are using AI, and they predict where the fish is going to be in the next 8 days. That is, this is the AI modeling. You have so much information available. So this is going to be one of the things. And like you were saying with the drones, I'm pretty sure a combination of drones and monitoring, different types of monitoring, and collaboration between nations like in the Baltic area, you will know where the fish is like this, if we do it right. In 10 years from now, you just sit and wait, and now, okay, we go out and we pick it up and go home.
Yeah, another opinions?
I'll take next. So for me, those projects who are able to benefit from automation and integration, they should, because first, you'll be more cost efficient. And at the end of the day, everything is about monetizing. And nobody wants cheap, everybody wants affordable, right? No, that's a big difference. So affordable luxury is what we should be selling to our consumers. And how do we do that? With automation. Everybody wants gourmet. Everybody wants the best for themselves. So let's just provide that. And how? With automation. But we need to understand what exactly will be automated. Not everything could be automated. Not every step in production needs to be automated. Otherwise, the capital investments could be so huge. So we need to be very selective. But of course, whatever is possible, the best that we can do is automate. We guarantee throughput, productivity, we reduce downtime, we bring the shelf life better, we do better for society.
Aren't the small-scale fishers left behind in this digital transformation, and what could be done to support them? Madis?
Well, I think this should be a universal principle. I mean, obviously every sector has their own digitalization needs and possibilities, but I think, the things we are doing right now, that we bring here companies from other countries to introduce what they're doing, the knowledge transfer, to share experience. I think this is one of the key issues, how to kind of, obviously people are track dependent, and if you have new information, this needs to be shared and by practitioners who actually are doing this, by companies. So I think this knowledge transfer is probably the key to break the kind of track dependency in coastal fisheries and also in trawling or other sectors.
If we look ahead for the next Baltic Sea Fisheries Forum, 7th maybe, what should we be discussing to make sure that we stay ahead of the emerging challenges? The drones, maybe? What would be the next topics? What do you think that is not discussed here today? What should be discussed?
I should be careful with my suggestion, but now I have enjoyed to be here. I would think that just to challenge you, I would suggest you ask one of the NGOs which has a very strong interest in either fishing or aquaculture to be challenged by them. Their opinion on our business might be different from us, but sometimes we move forward by being challenged. So that would be one thing. And also the processing industry. We have it a little bit, but it's also because there's special resources there and know-how about actually the market that we does not necessarily have as a primary producer. So that's just two suggestions for you.
Good suggestion. Yeah, very good.
I would actually bring out two things. I mean, there are several issues you can tackle, but definitely the economic side of fisheries. And this comes to the reputation and bringing the new youth into the sector. Because if you want to have new people in the business, you would have to show, the reputation of the sector and who are these people who are working here. So this really, the numbers are important. And the other, I can't pass the issue of cormorants and seals, the predators we have here. So I guess this is something we really, we need to tackle.
Gonzalo?
Thank you. I would recommend you to challenge yourself as an industry that you're creating very nice traditional products. I would recommend you to create a contest of your products to enter new demographics, new markets. Your traditional products to be already matching new lifestyles, for example, in Spain or the United States. So how you can create the new products for the new generation, but actually present something here so we can all taste. What is the future of herring? We know herring as it is. What is herring looking 10 years from now, 5 years from now? That could be very exciting. I have ideas, but I like to taste it.
Very good. Good idea. Johannes?
Well, yeah, I think it's a combination, like Nils was saying, also about the processing industry. I don't know what you have been doing previously. First time I'm here, so that's really interesting, and thank you for that. And I think the value chain is always an interesting thing. How look into parts of the value chain and development, and I think technology definitely is. This AI is not done yet. It's just we are in the early stage, but it will go fast. So I think if we jump 2 years and wait for something new in AI, then you are too late. I think it's now. Look into the value chain and the development in the value chain and technology.
So these were the ideas of from our fantastic panelists. Let's get a round of applause to them. Thank you.
Thank you.